Tonight on CFTK-TV News, we have more word on the Fort Nelson fire situation. A Haida land agreement has gotten royal assent while in the BC legislature, and Metro Vancouver residents are frustrated with the lack of action taken towards a dangerous intersection.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cal Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond today. Light rain and lower temperatures have prevented the wildfire burning near Fort Nelson from getting any closer to the town. It's now estimated to be over 12,300 hectares, and thousands of evacuees remain out of their homes. Many are relying on the kindness and generosity of nearby communities as they begin their second week as evacuees. CTV's Shannon Patterson has the latest.
It's been a week since the North Peace Arena in Fort St. John was converted to an emergency services center, providing access to shelter and other necessities to thousands of evacuees from Fort Nelson.
I just think what this community is doing for us is phenomenal.
Just even the people at the stores, they're just happy to see you and willing to offer help. I went and got an oil change yesterday. They gave me 50% off just because they knew I was an evacuee. It's awesome.
We have heard stories of residents opening their hearts and homes, sharing their spaces for cultural activities, and donating pet food and other necessities. We are all in this together, and this community spirit means so much to those who have been evacuated.
There are reports of some structure loss from the early days of the fire, but light rain and cooler temperatures in the past 48 hours have prevented it from growing or getting closer to town.
I think that rain helped us, helped the wildfire service really get aggressively offensive with this. I think they can see where the hot spots are, and they can get their air assets. They can get those big helicopter buckets to drop water right where it's hot.
Gratefully, our worst fears have not materialized, but I want to be extremely clear. We are not out of the woods. There is not enough rain forecasted to offset the prolonged drought conditions or extinguish the fires naturally.
And with active firefighting continuing just 1 kilometer from Fort Nelson, residents can't go home just yet. But officials are making plans for their return.
So there's a lot of logistics involved with getting the community ready to bring people back. And so we're actively pursuing that so that when we get the word from the wildfire service that it's safe to return, we'll be well ahead of the curve with respect to all the logistics it takes.
Fort Nelson residents who've been out of their homes for a week now are eager to go back.
It would be nice to be back tomorrow, but it could be stretched out. We don't know, but as soon as possible would be the best.
Oh, I'd like to go home yesterday, but another week probably, and I hope.
And they hope when they do get back home, everything is still standing. Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
The historic Rising Tide land agreement for Haida has now officially received royal assent in the BC legislature. CFTK-TV's Jaylene Matthews has more information on this event.
The Haida Nation Recognition Amendment Act is now officially law, recognizing the Haida Nation's Aboriginal title throughout Haida Gwaii. It received its assent and was accepted into legislature Thursday. Over the next several years, the Council of the Haida Nation and the province will work together and negotiate how provincial and Haida Nation laws can work together. Local governments, residents, and others will have opportunities to have input in these discussions. Recognizing Aboriginal title will not impact anyone's private property or local government jurisdiction in Haida Gwaii. Provincial laws continue to apply. Airports, ferry terminals, highways, public infrastructure, healthcare services, and schools are not affected. Provincial and municipal services will continue as they are, including health, education, transportation, fire, and emergency services. In a statement, the president of the Union of BC Indian Chiefs congratulated the Haida Nation on the agreement, saying the act represents a significant stride towards fostering positive relations between First Nations and the Crown, and litigation and court battles should no longer be the norm. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
Police in Kitimat have said that they're still looking for a suspect involved in a triple murder case from back in 1997. The RCMP stated that the suspect in the case is named Kevin Louis Vermette, who would now be 70 years old. Police also said that Vermette is believed to have killed 3 young adults in Kitimat on July 12th, 1997, but they've never been able to find him. Some other possible features that Vermette may have include his blue eyes and a cat tattoo on his upper right arm with the word lucky below it, and another tattoo with a coyote, moon, and dagger through a red rose on his left arm. Anyone that may have information to lead to Vermette's capture can call the Kitimat RCMP at 250-632-7111 and will be eligible for a cash reward of up to $2,000. Not long ago, Prince Rupert Harbor managed to get an item delivered to them that had been on the way for a fair bit of time. The thing that they got was the Wolverine Marine fueling station barges that will let any cargo ships that make their way to Prince Rupert refuel before they head out on their way. Before the new refueling stations that had been under construction since 2021 arrived in Prince Rupert, ships had to go back to Vancouver in order to make sure they had enough juice for the next leg of their journey. With that extra trip being eliminated, those ships will be able to save both money and time. Coming up next is a look at a case described as both unusual and tragic. Welcome back. The case was difficult, unusual, and tragic. That's how a BC Supreme Court judge described the sentencing of a former security guard who killed a man during a violent takedown. The judge decided the guard did not need to spend time behind bars, and will learn more about the mental health of the man who died in the encounter. CTV's Ben Nesbitt has the story.
Family members and supporters of Jack Hutchison sobbed as they learned he would not be going to jail. Justice Catherine Murray ultimately deciding it would be appropriate for Hutchison to serve his sentence in the community. He is clearly a broken man. I firmly believe that he's not broken because of the circumstances in which he finds himself. I truly believe he is broken because he caused Glenn's death, said Murray, who gave Hutchison an 18-month conditional sentence. The incident happened in September of 2020. The court says students reported that a tall man wearing all black was wandering around through student residences. When confronted by Hutchison, the lone security guard working that day, the man, 30-year-old Howard Glenn Hill, allegedly took off. After a physical altercation, Crown says Hutchison got Hill to the ground before putting him in a neck restraint for upwards of 10 minutes. When police arrived, Hill was unconscious. He was taken to hospital, but was eventually taken off life support. I acknowledge that parsing this incident apart in a detached manner in the calm of a courtroom is much different than the situation Mr. Hutchison faced. He was fearful, his adrenaline was flowing, he felt the responsibility of his job, he was responsible for the safety of everyone on campus. Crown was seeking a 5-year jail term, while defense had asked for the conditional sentence. Some of Hutchison's conditions include providing a DNA sample, not leaving the province without permission, and completing 120 hours of community service. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, New Westminster.
It's a Metro Vancouver intersection with a dangerous and deadly history of large trucks crashing into cars, and now residents have had enough, calling for the city to step up and do something about it. CTV's Kevin Chirac reports.
Two similar crashes involving large dump trucks in the same intersection in less than a week.
I can see how accidents can happen, and I just think we need to step it up.
Fortunately, this time no one was seriously injured. But people who live near Holmes Street and Columbia and New Westminster are fed up with a familiar scene.
It's very concerning. My kids are getting to an age where they can walk around on their own, and I do find I don't like them walking down the north road. I make them walk inside roads.
It's a busy and steep road, and large trucks aren't supposed to take this street, but for some reason, it keeps happening.
Holmes Street is not a truck route. Unless you have a very specific reason to be there, you will be ticketed.
What is the city doing to try and fix this?
What we're doing is trying to understand why trucks like this are on this route.
The city's director of engineering says staff are reaching out to trucking companies to find answers and looking into better ways of sending a message.
We are looking at signage within New West and in Burnaby to figure out if maybe there should be an exception to our signage approach.
There's currently no signs telling trucks not to be there. Police also say they're upping enforcement. Residents left wondering if anything will work. Back in 2011, a dump truck smashed a car, killing the driver.
It has had horrible, disastrous consequences, and we need to rethink how we can really prevent this from happening.
Police say the 2 crashes this week are still under investigation. Kevin Chirac, CTV News, New Westminster.
Turning to tonight's weather, the North Coast will have clear skies and a low of 5 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area will have a clear night as well, but a low at 3 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District is likely to get a chance of showers, while their low is at 2 degrees. On the North Coast, the upcoming week will get a sunny day but rain otherwise, with a high moving from 15 to 10 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, their week similarly will get a sunny day but almost exclusively rain afterwards, while their high shifts from 21 to 13 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the week for them will deal with mainly days that mix between sun and cloud, as the high for them bounces from 20 to 12 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is utility work, bridge maintenance, construction work, crack sealing, and paving operations. Highway 35 has road sweeping. Highway 118 has some shoulder maintenance. Highway 37 has some frost heaves. 37A has bridge maintenance and road maintenance work. Some more bridge maintenance on the Nishka Highway. And the Telegraph Creek Road has muddy sections and frost heaves. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come is a story of a guide dog saving a life. Welcome back. Boating season is almost here, and most recreational users will be flocking to BC's various bodies of water. While there are several beautiful coasts to explore, it's also quite crucial to properly prepare before you head out on the water. CTV's Isabella Zavarisi has more on what you need to know to make sure you stay safe.
Monitoring the waters. It's an important job to make sure boats like this, sailing on the wrong side of the Narrow, don't cause an accident.
If you're not paying attention at all times, it's dangerous out there.
During the summer months, these shared waterways are filled with recreational boats and commercial vessels competing for space.
The deep sea vessels that call the Port of Vancouver can be up to 360 meters in length. So really that's the equivalent of up to 6 ice hockey rinks.
Which is why it's important to be vigilant on the water, as visibility is limited for these large vessels.
Especially in narrow channels, stay to the right of the channel, stay out of the way.
While the water may look calm, it can be deceiving, especially as you near the Lionsgate and Ironworkers Memorial bridges. The waves so strong,
they actually cause recreational boats to sink 1 or 2 a year in each of those locations.
There's a number of safety measures boaters should take before they head out in the water. That includes planning their trip before they head out here, wearing your life jacket at all times, and operating the boat sober.
I can't emphasize enough how important it is for boaters to be safe on the water.
Transport Canada says nearly 500 people drown annually in Canada, and about 100 are related to recreational boating.
The more startling statistic is this one. In all boating-related deaths, 80% of those involve a person not wearing a life jacket.
You knock your head as you're going overboard. It doesn't matter if you're an Olympic swimmer. You're unconscious.
An urgent reminder as the weather warms and people set sail to enjoy our beautiful coast. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
A BC woman is sharing a remarkable story of how her guide dog saved her life. It happened while she was swimming in a lake, and the dog somehow sensed something was wrong. CTV's Kevin Chirac has more on the dog, who's being called a guardian angel.
Come on.
Sherry Lynn McWilliams lives with epilepsy, experiencing multiple seizures a day, something Venta is ready for, in some cases even before they happen, like last summer at Shawnigan Lake.
All of a sudden she started barking, which I thought, oh, you know, she just doesn't like to swim very much and she doesn't like me being in the water.
But Venta jumped in, sensing something was off.
And started to pull me, definitely pull me to shore. And so I swam into shore and got onto the dock, and right then, boom, hit, big seizure.
Without Venta's help, McWilliams believes she would have drowned.
That was the silent witness that was acting on her own to take care of my wife. That was God-given. That was just an act of grace, and we're very grateful for it.
Venta spent 6 weeks in training for how to respond to seizures.
Help.
Whether it's calling for help or getting medicine, but even instructors are puzzled by Venta's life-saving intuition.
I don't have a definitive answer to give you as to how she has started to pick up on seizures before they happen.
She says research is ongoing, but there are theories.
A change in the client's blood, the scent that they could be picking up on. Some dogs could be picking up on some sort of very small change in body language.
The demand for guide dogs is high, serving the blind, deaf, autistic, and more. It costs $35,000 to train and receive a dog, all funded by donations and sponsors. McWilliams is sharing her story ahead of the nonprofit's Walk for Guides fundraiser later this month, saying Venta has changed her life.
I feel more independence than I've had for, I think, my life.
Knowing her four-legged friend always has her back.
There's another pair of eyes watching me all the time.
Kevin Chirac, CTV News, Burnaby.
Loblaws has agreed to sign onto the Grocery Code of Conduct, which Ottawa is hoping will level the playing field across the industry. But is it too little too late? Here's CTV's Dave Charbonneau.
Grocery prices are still high, and shoppers are now hearing again about a grocery code of conduct. After rejecting the idea, Loblaws has now agreed to be part of a new deal. So, will the new code lead to lower prices?
Because of Loblaws and Walmart's power and influence, those two companies are forcing everyone else to sell the same things, but they're able to sell it at a lower price.
Right now, larger grocery stores have more bargaining power, putting pressure on suppliers to deliver product to them first. The Code of Conduct will hopefully bring more fairness to the market. This popular smaller grocer in Ottawa thinks it might be too late.
I think it's personally beyond repair. They're so big.
The new rules should make it easier for smaller independent grocers to compete with the grocery giants in Canada by making the supply chain available to everyone equally.
A little store like myself, I can't handle a full load of craft salad dressings. Then you're forced to buy those stuff from a Sobeys or Loblaws.
Shoppers say they're in favor of any policy which change the rules and lead to lower prices.
It's sort of a little bit like a monopoly in the fact that they're going to control, these big companies have access to the supply chain, and these guys don't, without having really high prices.
The Canadian Federation of Independent Grocers represents 6,900 grocery retailers across Canada. It also supports a code of conduct.
If a product is in high demand, or there's low supply of something. What the chains have done in the past is they've gone to suppliers and said, we want all the product and you're going to give it to us. It means that the people in those communities aren't getting the products that people in larger urban areas take for granted.
Walmart is the last holdout of the big grocery chains. It has yet to sign the Code of Conduct. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
And now we turn our attention to the stock market's pre-closure. The Canadian dollar is down 16/10 of a cent. The price of gold is down $1.30. Oil is down 35 cents. Natural gas is down 2 cents. Aluminum is up $18. In Toronto, the TSX is up 2.60 points. The Venture Index is up 6.37. In New York, the Dow Jones is up 25.26. And Nasdaq is up 9.07. Still ahead is leaked footage that is rather difficult to watch. Welcome back. Now to some disturbing video appearing to show music mogul Sean "Diddy" Combs physically assaulting his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a Los Angeles hotel back in 2016. The alarming images appear to match allegations filed in a lawsuit by Ventura during last year. Here's NBC's Chloe Malas and a warning some may be distressed by this video.
Disturbing new video appears to show music executive Sean "Diddy" Combs physically assaulting his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a Los Angeles hotel back in 2016. The silent video obtained by CNN, Ventura is seen walking down the hall, followed by Combs wearing only a towel, who is seen grabbing, dragging, and kicking Ventura in the elevator bank. The surveillance video appears to be from an incident described in a lawsuit Ventura filed against Combs last November. The complaint states that around March of 2016, at a former Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Mr. Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Miss Ventura in the face, giving her a black eye. It goes on to describe how he followed her into the hallway, grabbed at her, took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her, causing glass to crash around them as she ran to the elevator to escape. The complaint also alleges Combs paid the hotel $50,000 for the hallway security footage from that evening. In a statement to NBC News, Intercontinental's parent company said this hotel is no longer under IHG management and we do not have any access to prior incident records or footage, adding it did not receive money for the footage. So far, there's no indication from law enforcement officials that any criminal complaint was filed by Ventura.
This video could create huge problems for Diddy, especially with people who may be thinking about bringing allegations against Diddy but haven't done so yet.
Ventura declined to comment on the footage today, but her attorney released a statement saying the gut-wrenching video has only further confirmed the disturbing and predatory behavior of Mr. Combs. Ventura and Combs settled the lawsuit earlier this year for an undisclosed amount of money. At the time, Combs' team released a statement saying, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best." Combs did not respond to NBC News' request for comment today, but in the past has repeatedly denied committing acts of domestic violence. This comes as the music mogul faces multiple civil lawsuits with allegations including abuse and sexual assault spanning decades. In March, federal agents raided his properties in Los Angeles and Miami.
If federal authorities are investigating Diddy for human trafficking violations, this video could be very interesting evidence to them.
It's been 3 years since a homeless encampment was created in Vancouver's Crab Park, and advocates say the park's board ramped up enforcement activity despite the camp's success. Advocates say an anniversary barbecue was held to commemorate year 3 of the tent city, which has 13 full-time residents. A statement from camp supporter Michelle Gagnon-Creeley said the anniversary came amid a human rights case filed against the city and board over alleged discrimination against the camp residents. The camp reportedly once homed 120 people, but park ranger enforcement actions have seen truckloads of belongings seized, like tarps, tables, chairs, and even carving tools were taken from an indigenous carver. That's all of our news for now. From everyone here at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.